So I get a big question, and there's so much answer to this question. I can't cover it all, but I want to give you a brief primer of what kind of different anvils are out there. And what I mean by what kind is to their composition, okay? Before 1840, all of your anvils were actually wrought iron. Now, wrought iron was never liquid. It can't be poured. So basically, all the anvils were hammered together with several different pieces all mushed together into an anvil. Now, before 1840, it was just wrought iron, and wrought iron cannot be hardened. It's very, very soft. So a lot of these old anvils have a swayback, a literal dip that has been beaten into them. If you find an anvil that's had a dip beaten into it, for God's sakes, don't touch it. Buy it and put it in a place of honor. That is an antiquity that you do not need to deface, okay? After 1840, they had a new technology that arrived that allowed them to weld a high-carbon steel plate to the top of one of these wrought iron bases. The vast majority of your Peter Wrights are made this way. A lot of your Armitage anvils after 1840 are made this way. I think all of them. There's several other anvils of quality that are wrought iron with a steel faceplate. Now, as you get into the later 1800s, a new technology came out that they could pour cast iron. And then you saw the rise of things like Fisher-Norris, Vulcan anvils, and these are anvils that are cast iron, which is an inferior material, but it still had a steel top plate. If you wonder why professional smiths like myself won't touch Fisher-Norris or Vulcan's anvil unless they're just going to be ornamentation, it's because that once that top plate cracks, and they do very often, it's very difficult, very expensive, if at all possible, to repair them. They just don't make serviceable good anvils for a professional shop. For the beginner, probably be okay, but they're just not a quality piece that smiths like myself always look for. So there were a ton of those made in the late 1800s, and then we had yet another advancement of technology, and that's when you see cast steel anvils. And the cast steel anvil is the pinnacle of anvil technology. In fact, all the really good anvils today are made from cast steel. Now, of course, there's always some junk comes out of Mexico and China that's what they call ductile iron. That is just that. It's just a chunk of ductile iron bust with a few hits. Now, there are some ductile iron farriers anvils that have a steel plate out there, but at the end of the day, the cast steel anvils are still the best. That's like the Riffling House, Pending House anvils, Nimba anvils, and a lot of the ones that are modern are made out of high-quality cast steel, and they're the top of the line. Now, do you need one of those? Probably not. The anvil I forge on was made in the late 1800s. She's beautiful. She looks great. She's going to last through my lifetime and through several more. So it's a little bit of overkill. But that should give you a general overview of the types of anvils that are out there, and they're not all created equal. Now, of course, if you're in the peanut gallery saying, well, I have a cast iron anvil and I use it, great, more power to you. You still don't have a high quality anvil. It may suit your purposes, but from the professional standpoint, it's not up to spec for us. But if you can use it, then by all means use it. Now, if you really want the skinny on anvils, period, there's one gentleman that has really gone above and beyond. That is Mr. Richard Postman. He has produced 2 books on the subject. The first book was Anvils in America. It's a beautiful hardback book. Usually run you about $90 or so. I can't remember what the price is. And then he produced a second book about Armitage or mouse hole anvils in England. Both of them I recommend that you get and digest thoroughly to increase your knowledge about anvils and where they come from. So there you go. Go forth.